everyone, I'm Mackayla. Welcome to the Soundtrack of Our Lives podcast. We're going to jump right in with the two hardest questions of all. Who are you and what have you been up to recently?
Oof. Yeah, tough questions. My name is Bells Larsen. Um, I am a singer-songwriter, Montrealer, also a Torontonian. And what have I been up to? I've been doing this and that,
Hmm.
been slowly but surely rolling out my sophomore record. Also been watching lots of Survivor, been enjoying the spring. Been doing it all.
Yeah, so your sophomore record. How exciting!
Yes. Yes, yeah, I'm really, really thrilled. I'm really thrilled to be putting it out.
Hmm.
Yeah.
What can you share about it?
So the music is the synthesis between my voices before and after my transition. So
Hmm.
to the average listener who's maybe listening, well, I hope the average listener is not listening passively, but to a passive listener, I guess it sounds like a high voice and a low voice, maybe
Hmm.
even a girl voice and a boy voice, if you will. But both are me. So this project was sort of shaped around, or rather, my transition actually was shaped around this project. I intentionally recorded the high vocals and the instrumentation before starting hormone replacement therapy in the form of testosterone in
Hmm.
2022. Then I waited for my vocals to drop and then went back to these recordings and essentially like harmonized with myself. And it's all songs about, um, you know, love and loving, being loved through my point of view, through all these changes that I've been going through.
Yeah.
But the record as a whole is really just about change and that kind of being a universal human experience.
Hmm. What was it like to go back and listen to those old recordings?
Um, Really neat. Really, really cool. It feels it still feels strange to be honest to listen to these recordings now and know that it's me.
Hmm.
Because I feel like I've been in the midst of becoming all of these different versions of me, as again, as we all are, but
Yeah.
it's just been like a specific flavor of that. So it's been really quite nice. It's been a little I don't want to say jarring, but I guess surprising at times
Hmm.
that that was me and that my voice could go that high and yeah, but it's been a really beautiful experience, I would say, a real exercise in self-love in some ways.
Yeah, that is a great way to kind of share self-love.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would be scared when they're transitioning to then go back and listen to those old recordings and incorporate them into their new music.
Yeah, that makes sense. And that's kind of one of the reasons I wanted to do this is because I feel like I have been I came out as trans when I was 22 or 23, something like that.
Hmm.
And but I spent a lot of my adolescence watching coming out videos on YouTube of sort of like every letter of the gay alphabet, I guess, including trans guys. Which should have been a hint, but no worries. But a lot of these stories are sort of depicted in a very, before and after way. There's a very
Hmm.
clear dichotomy, which totally makes sense because a lot of people want to focus on the after and
Yeah.
becoming who they are right now. But, I don't really feel like my story has been so cut and dry. And
Hmm.
it was really important for me to incorporate the before into the after because the after could not, at least for me, have been here without the before.
Yeah. Nobody can find the best version of themselves without going through whatever they've gone through in
Mm-hmm.
life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly, exactly. And so, again, I that's why I say that it's a record, of course, that is told through my point of view
Hmm.
as a trans person, but I think that it's definitely something that people can relate to, no matter their walk of life.
Yeah. I feel like everyone has gone through something that's changed them as a person, whatever that is.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Yeah, exactly.
Everyone's had that moment where you're like, oh, I was a different person before whatever.
For sure, for sure, for sure. And I think that, you know, everyone has maybe a big one or a handful of big ones, but
Yeah.
like, I think that life is nothing if not a series of transitions. And like, of course, it's me who's saying that, but I mean, you know, breakups, deaths, new jobs,
Hmm.
um,
Going to
totally.
college, moving out. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
All those things.
Yeah, all those good things.
So, what inspired you to choose Blurring Time as the title track? Ask you as you're drinking water.
Um, it was the first song that I wrote for the record. Um, and so it just felt like an appropriate you know, starting off point, I guess. And then every song that I wrote after that, the track list is like more or less in chronological order,
Hmm.
uh, of my writing.
Okay.
So the first song you hear is pretty much, yeah, it's the first song I wrote for the record, and then the last song, same thing pretty much. So it just felt like an apt title for the project, and also because, the song Blurring Time was written in like early 2021.
Hmm.
Montreal, where I'm based back and forth, Toronto, Montreal, and Montreal was subject to some like really, really strict like COVID lockdown
Yeah.
restrictions. And when you're inside all the time, surrounded by mirrors, and you don't really have anywhere to go, you don't really have anything to do, I was just in my head all day, and that can feel like a very like freaky and blurry experience, quite frankly.
Hmm.
Time sort of stands still and goes very, very quickly. And it was the first time that I really had the time to do like an intentional study of the self. And so that's what that song is about. It's about like having the time to sort of be alone and think about who I am, what I want.
Hmm.
But
Scary
then,
thoughts.
very can be, yes, 100%. But then, to zoom out a little bit, like the whole album is also about blurring time in some
Hmm.
ways, because that's what I'm doing by uh, you know, doing a mix of the before and the after. It's non-chronological, it's kind of blurry, it's um yeah, and I feel like that's been like the process of the writing, but also the recording and kind of the releasing in some ways.
Hmm. So, when you went to record the high parts, did you already know what songs they were going to be for, or you just wanted to record it to use in future songs?
Yeah, exactly. So I just kind of it was weird, like literally right before this, I was practicing my set for my release shows that are going to be coming up next month, and obviously I'm singing them with a low voice now, and thank God I play with a band of like really great talented musicians who are willing to bear with me whenever I want to like be like, okay, guys, actually, we're gonna be singing this song in G sharp today, just because my voice has like really been an accordion. Some
Hmm.
days it's a little bit on the higher side, some days it's a little bit on the lower side. Um, and before my transition, I was an alto, uh, and so that's kind of like on the lower, excuse me, the lower side, I guess, of
Yeah.
a high voice.
Hmm.
And now I'm sitting a little bit at like baritone-ish. And yeah, there was like literally no way for me to know beforehand where I would sit there. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So I kind of just had to like take a guess, take a totally wild guess, and think, like I hope future me can sing in this key, can sing an octave lower in this key.
Hmm.
And preteen me was like very generous with regards to how low I thought my voice would drop. It didn't drop as low as I thought it would. So the songs that they are on the record are not in the same key as how I sing them in real life, because they're just too low for me now.
Hmm.
So yeah, my to answer your question, my process was basically just like recording a record as I would if as I would, if it was going to be just my high voice,
Hmm.
and then hands off, and then like open the files a year and a half later. And so, there's some songs on there that feature like very, very little high voice.
Hmm.
So we basically just like recorded that, I guess, as a sort of bedrock, and then like filled in the blanks with the low voice and then re-added the higher harmonies and that kind of thing. Um, but yeah, it was a really interesting exercise in limitation and like creative limitation because
Hmm.
I'm someone who likes control. I'm someone who likes when there's like rules and a
Yeah.
degree of certainty, and that all went completely out the window. And obviously, like there's no re-recording certain parts, right? Like
Hmm.
I can't really unring that bell. So that's been beautiful in some ways, but then of course there's been parts where that's been frustrating for the recording process too.
I bet.
Hmm.
Like kicking yourself, like, why didn't I record this bit? Or, you know,
Yeah, 100%. Or oh dang, that harmony would have been really nice, but whatever.
too late now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So you mentioned you have that release show and then you have a small tour. So
Hmm.
what are you most excited about for that?
Um, I'm excited to just bring these songs to life in like different ways, in different different rooms, different arrangements.
Hmm.
I've just been sitting on these songs for 3 years,
Wow.
and I understand that like especially in this day and age, art takes time and rollouts take time, and it's a very normal thing to be to like sit on a recorded project for a while.
Hmm.
However, I'm someone who I think prefers for sure a little bit of a quicker turnaround time. But again, that's like one of the creative restrictions of this project. I went into it knowing that it would be a long time
Hmm.
between the writing and the releasing. So I'm just really excited to, you know, take my recording hat off, or I guess like listening to these songs in recorded form
Hmm.
and really just, yeah, bringing them to life with other people, seeing how that feels. I won't be necessarily recreating the before and after thing for every show. So like
Hmm.
seeing how we can recreate the high elements with other instruments and that kind of thing.
Ooh, that sounds
Yeah.
interesting.
Hmm.
That's very
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. I think it'll be
So for
fun.
somebody who wants to come see you, what should they expect from a show?
They should expect, um, I'm really good at tuning. I feel like that's definitely a strength of mine. I will not leave people hanging while I'm tuning. I'll keep
Hmm.
chatting. I would say tasteful stage banter.
Okay.
Nothing too tacky. But yeah, in all seriousness, I think uh, I'd say like a good show. I think that my band and I put on a good show. I think that the tunes take on a different sort of catharsis when they are performed in a room full of other people, often whom are there because they see their stories to some degree reflected in my own.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I think I think they'll be really special. Have you ever been to Montreal?
I have. We went a couple of times when I was a kid. Um, yeah, I was really pretty. I don't remember a lot because I was much younger then, but and then the last time I went was right before I started college. So of course my mind was not focused.
Hmm. Hmm. I hear you. I hear
Yeah.
you. It is still pretty. It's still very, very pretty. It's one of the things, the best things it has going for it is that I feel at least like it's very pretty regardless of the season.
Hmm. I do remember we were there and my mom apparently had never like smelled weed before or something. And
Oh,
yeah, so she made this comment as we were walking along. She's like, "Boy, there's a lot of skunks in Montreal."
that's so funny. Um, Not wrong. I've definitely seen a couple of skunks here. But they're,
That
yep,
was yeah, that was not
good
what
amount
she
of
was
pot.
smelling.
No, no. Do people still call it pot? Is that a
Yeah,
thing?
pot,
Yeah,
weed.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Great. Yeah, I would say there's a decent amount.
Yeah, I just thought that's what really stands out from that trip is that comment.
Hey, fair enough.
What's your favorite part about Montreal?
That's a great question. It's very, very, very artistically friendly. Very, very artistically friendly. A little less so than it used to be, I
Hmm.
think. I've been here for, let me see. I guess 6 years or so. And even before I moved here, it was totally possible to have an apartment either by yourself or with other people, whatever, and each person would pay like $400 for a room. Or like I know
Hmm.
people who would pay like, $600 for the entire apartment. And again, granted, that's in Canadian dollars,
Yeah.
but it just used to be really, really, really even more affordable. And artists could come here, not really worry about the cost of living in the way that they would in other cities like Toronto or New York or LA, San Fran, whatever.
Hmm.
So because the cost of living is a little cheaper, um, yeah, they could like live a good life, maybe work at a bar or a cafe like 1 or 2 days a week, and then
Yeah.
otherwise really just focus on their project. And um, yeah, it's still artistically friendly, and I will not complain about how much rent I'm paying compared to people in other Canadian cities and things like that. Um, but yeah, I would say that it definitely has a creative feel to it that I think is very contagious in a really beautiful way.
That's awesome.
Hmm.
That is a cool part about, I feel like there are certain cities that you go and you're like, oh, this is an artistic city.
Hmm. 100%. Yeah.
I
And I
don't know.
think,
Yeah, I don't know what it is. You just get there and you're like, you just know.
yeah, I think so. I think so. I wouldn't say that you get that vibe like um as soon as you leave the airport kind of thing. I went to Austin for South by Southwest a couple years ago, and I feel like in their airport, you're like, oh, okay.
Hmm.
It's freaky here in the best way possible. The Montreal airport is nothing to write home about, but as soon as you get anywhere away from a highway,
Hmm.
5 stars.
Okay. So for
Yeah.
someone who's visiting Montreal, what do you recommend?
Bagels, tons of bagels. Have you ever had a Montreal bagel?
Probably when I was a child, but not since then.
Okay, they're it's a very important food here.
Okay.
Our bagels, I think, are the best. They are boiled in honey
Mm.
rather than, and then like wood, or like they're supposed to be like put in like I guess a wood fire oven. Is that how you say that? Yeah, they're made a little differently than the bagels in say like New York or something like that. I think in New York they have malt, if I'm not mistaken.
Hmm.
And yeah, they're just like really freaking delicious. And there's two really big bagel places that have a very historic rivalry. There's Saviateur Bagel, and then there's Fairmount Bagel. Everyone prefers one.
Mm.
No one is impartial. It's like cilantro, like you love it or hate it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And um, yeah, it's kind of like the Capulets and the Montagues
Which one do you
of
prefer?
Saviateur, for sure. Same, for sure, for sure.
So because they've been in honey, are they sweet?
Not really. They just have like
Huh.
a je ne sais quoi. It's very good.
Okay.
Yeah, bagels important. Um, was your question what you would do or what you would eat?
I guess both.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, yeah, eating is very important. I feel like when you eat places, you're also like exploring.
100%. Walking around the Myland is great. I think it's rated like the 13th coolest neighborhood in the world, or like some arbitrary number. Um, People watch. There's great people watching here. And you can like, whether or not you speak French, you can kind of eavesdrop a little bit and hear all of the different flavors of French that there are. There's Quebecois French, French from France, French from other French-speaking countries. It's really cool. It's really
Mhm.
cool.
That is cool. Kind of a blend of all the different versions of French.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly.
Yeah, I do not speak French, but my sister is almost fluent in French.
Oh, right on. Very
Yeah,
cool. Do you speak
yeah.
any other languages?
I tried. Was not for language is not my thing.
Okay,
Yeah. But like
gotcha.
obviously like if I were to move to a new like a country that speaks another language, obviously I would learn it because you don't have a choice.
Yes, I mean, yes and no. Montreal is not a city, or sorry, not a country, it's a city.
Hmm.
But there's this very interesting pipeline between Toronto and Montreal, um, especially for artsy folks. Like for instance, I went to an arts high school in Toronto, and I'm gonna say like 60% of my grade ended up here.
Hmm.
And I think if, for all of the reasons that I mentioned, very affordable, very artistic, very cool. The drinking age is also a little lower.
Always a bonus.
So always a bonus. And yeah, not to like throw shade on um, English speakers who move here and then move back home because they don't know French. But yeah, like I don't really have a ton of pals who I grew up with who still live here because uh, you were saying like, oh, it's going to be a given that people want to learn the language and that kind of thing. But a lot of the time, no, for
Hmm.
Montreal and English speakers, which is why it has a very, I think, transient feel to it as well. It has this sort of like ethereal, mythical feel because not a lot of people stick around for more than like 4 or 5 years, I would
Hmm.
say.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like if I were to, personally, if I were to move to a new city or country, whatever that spoke a different language, I'd want to learn it because like it's so ingrained in like language and culture are like kind of the same.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Um, I grew up speaking French and my parents put me in French immersion because I think they wanted me to like have more opportunities with regards to jobs.
Hmm.
Jokes on them because I'm now a musician, but I have a partner who is Quebecois and French is their first language. So I guess, yeah, the learning French as a kid did work out for me, just like not in the way that they maybe thought it would.
It gave you more opportunities for partners.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, for sure. And charming
That's
Quebecois
good.
people. Yes, with
Yeah.
my bad accent.
So before I ask the last question, was there anything else that you wanted to mention or talk about?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No.
So the last question is, what is the soundtrack of your life?
Oof. Hmm. Well, I think of my answer. What's the soundtrack of yours?
I would say probably the theme song to The Office.
Okay, like that's always playing.
Yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
do listen to that to fall asleep at night. So not the theme song, but like I play an episode.
Got it. Okay.
So it is always playing for me. And I have
Okay.
an office themed calendar. I have like several Funko Pops of The Office.
Okay. Okay. Nice. The only episode that I've watched is the Fun Run,
Oh, that's a good one.
and it's really fun. Like it cracks me up. It's so funny. And I'm lactose intolerant, so um like the Alfredo thing, like that
Hmm.
really cracked me up. Um yeah, that's a great answer. It made me think of Modern Family, and I've seen episodes here and there, but I cannot hear the theme song anymore for two reasons. One of which is because um my partner has insomnia, and when they can't sleep, it's their comfort show.
Hmm.
So it just like reminds me of sleepless nights and trying to fall asleep and hearing that. But then also it was the comfort show of my two roommates who I lived with in like during the like really intense lockdowns here in Montreal during the
Hmm.
pandemic. And we were all like in a pretty yucky place
Hmm.
and um just like drinking too much beer, smoking too much weed. And so I hear the theme song and then I hear a bong rip. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Anyways, the soundtrack to my life. I mean, when in doubt, I throw on Illinois by Sufjan Stevens.
Hmm.
It's such a versatile album and very it's a smorgasbord of genres and sounds and um instruments, and I just think he is such a freaking brilliant storyteller, and I love him so much. And there's a song on there that is the song that inspired my first tattoo. It was like really big for younger me who was experiencing love for the first time. And I feel like that song has taken on a whole slew of like meanings for me, but
Mhm.
I revisit that record all the time, and I've just like never stopped falling in love with it. So I'd say that.
I like it.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, for all of our listeners who want to stay updated on you, maybe see you on tour, definitely listen to the EP when it comes out. Where can they find you?
They can find me on Instagram, just with my name. Same thing with TikTok. I try not to be too much on TikTok because lately that app has been making me want to rip my skin off. But um, yeah, got a website. I am a really, really big fan of the platform Substack, just because it's I guess still kind of a social media, but it's like the less, I don't know, social media-y of the social medias.
Hmm.
So if people want to keep up with me in a non-social media way, I think that that's a great way to do it, especially leading up to the release of my album.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me today.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
Listeners, go check them out and don't forget to subscribe and follow us on Instagram, YouTube, Blue Sky, and TikTok, STLR's podcast. Thanks for listening.